Good Wednesday afternoon, guys. Jerry Miller, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Guys, this show is loaded with information. Buckle up, sit back. The next 60 minutes of your life, you're going to have some serious knowledge bombs drop from news around this area that is undoubtedly going to impact your life in the short and long term. This is the I Love CVille Show. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. We do this show Monday through Friday from 12:30 to 1:30 on the I Love CVille Network. We're going to talk Dr. Webb winning in a landslide in the Democratic primary. We're going to talk a $19,630 bill for cleaning up some graffiti and some remains from the protests on Sunday in front of Charlottesville Police Department. We're going to talk Jim Ryan and the University of Virginia moving graduation now from the fall to May. That literally was just announced moments ago. So not even in the news cycle. Okay? This is undoubtedly, if you're tuning in right now and are listening to the fact that UVA is moving its graduation to the spring, this is something that without question will impact Charlottesville. We'll tell you how. Champion and Hunter Smith, one of the few business owners and entrepreneurs that are growing and expanding in a COVID-19 ecosystem. Champion and Hunter Smith, guys, taking over Commonwealth Skybar. This comes after a few days after announcing a partnership with Laura Fauner and adding a food truck to the mix. Laura Fauner, the chef at Dooner's restaurant, no longer the chef there, now the owner of Dumpling, a food truck in Hunter Smith's Champion Arsenal. We have so much freaking content for you today. Give the show a like and a share. We have 2 new restaurants that are closing their doors. We have 5 other restaurants that are about to close. And we're going to scratch our heads and wonder about the ones that have not made announcements yet. Some in the downtown mall, some in the Fry Springs neighborhood, and some on 29. Chief Brackney is getting some props. She's a hardworking lady, and she has supporters in the community. We have that story for you. So much content. Thank you for joining us on the I Love CVille Show. We are an advertising agency. We represent 112 clients as of this morning, and 2 of our favorites, intrastate, pest, and service companies. Did we get the new picture in there, Judah? Oh, look at that. We have new photography for this fabulous 4-generation family, Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a home's best friend. And how about the good doctor, Scott Wagner? Scott Wagner, through physical therapy and chiropractic care, changing people's lives. Scott Wagner, chiropractic and sports medicine. Who's got your back? Dr. Wagner's got your back. Judah Wickhauer, how about we flick the camera to you so everyone can see that handsome mug of yours? How you doing, my friend? We got a loaded show this afternoon, don't we?
We certainly do. Here I am, ready to go.
Good job, Judah. Let's go with the first headline. And you know, I literally almost did not make this the first headline because we have so much news. I thought UVA graduation, or I thought the $19,000 plus tax bill that you, me, and taxpayers across the city are going to be fronting for the protests on Sunday. But you know what? I said this is Congress. And this is an impactful race. Dr. Cameron Webb, due to the headline on screen, will face Republican Bob Good this fall in the Virginia 5th Congressional District race. Dr. Webb won this in a freaking landslide. Okay? No one on the Democratic ticket stood a chance against Dr. Webb, who ran a low-key strategic campaign. You saw Dr. Webb often photographed in his white doctor's jacket. The white doctor's jacket breeds a sense of trust. Trust with medical professionals is critical in this COVID-19 ecosystem. A smart strategic move right there for Dr. Webb, having the stethoscope and the doctor's jacket in the branding. Intelligent. Another intelligent move. The live streaming he did with Dr. Bell. Weekly, even more frequently toward the end of the Democratic ticket race, and during these live streams, we got a sense of Dr. Webb from a humanized, localized, and personalized standpoint. He did not leverage the live stream with Dr. Bell to push his platform. Instead, he subtly had it in the background that undoubtedly paid dividends. Okay? This gentleman is now going toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano, fist-to-fist, chin-to-chin, forehead-to-forehead with Bob Good. And the 5th District is gerrymandered, and it leans Republican because of how it's districted and outlined. But if there's a guy that can win the race, it's a Dr. Webb. The man's a lawyer. The man's a doctor. The man served under Obama. The man has experience dealing with health issues like COVID-19. The man is approachable, low-key, relatable, well-spoken, and highly electable. We saw that in a landslide victory yesterday, was not even close. And we're going to interestingly see how it matches up against Bob Good in the 5th. Do you know Bob Good in the 5th is already using kind of smear tactics, saying Dr. Webb's campaign is going to be well-funded and funded by folks like George Soros. Literally, Bob Good is putting that on Twitter. This is going to be such a crossroads. You can write a movie script about the Good versus Webb race. They are so different. So different. Cannot be more polar opposites. And here's something to follow before we go to the next headline. Denver Riggleman got backdoored because of a Republican convention, and as we know, because Republicans didn't like that he officiated a same-sex marriage. Hearing rumblings about Denver Riggleman running as a third-party candidate. That would really mix up this election if Riggleman gets in there as a third party. And if Riggleman gets in there as a third party, you'll see the Republican base splintered, giving a potential advantage to Webb as he makes his push in the 5th. We'll follow those storylines closely. Let's go to the next story. This one was almost the lead of the show. And this one hits really close to home. Guys, give the show a like and a share. Hit the like button right now, please. Share the show right now, please. I mean it. 3 people work hard on this. All I ask in return is a like and a share of the show. All right, so put the headline on screen from NBC 29 about the tax bill for yesterday's cleanup. Good Lord. So we talked yesterday, and we're ahead of a lot of stuff here, guys, when it comes to Charlottesville and the market and being able a couple steps ahead and be able to see down the road. It's a gift here. We talked yesterday of how protesters on Sunday made their first strategic error by heckling and harassing, and we'll go to this one, Judah, heckling and harassing paying customers at restaurants in the downtown mall, challenging them because of their privilege and the fact that they were eating burgers and drinking beer on Father's Day when folks across the country that are brown and black were dying. So that happened on Sunday. What also happened on Sunday, the same protesters went outside the Charlottesville Police Department and graffitied messages in front of the police department, racists enter here, graffitied messages on the asphalt as well. So from my standpoint, protesters who have run an incredibly strategic, an incredibly influential, an incredibly impactful protest over the last 4 weekends, an influential 4 straight weekend protest. From my standpoint, the first error was made on Sunday when harassing private citizens at private businesses and when graffitiing public property that undoubtedly is against the law. So what we've seen since then is this. We've seen a portion of Charlottesville and Central Virginia that supported the protesters in their efforts now turn their backs because of what happened on Sunday. We saw the city, and Judah, put the photos you put up on screen. Judah Wickhauer took these photos from Monday when Market Street was closed and they were cleaning the roads. Over $19,000 of billable revenue that taxpayers are going to cover. So here's how I look at it, guys. First off, did you think the $19,000 plus bill was astronomical, ridiculous, and absurd? I think Amy Wicks-Horn said it best on the I Love CVille Network on one of our Facebook pages when she said, I thought they made an comma error. I initially thought 1,900, but 19,000 plus, good grief. And she's right. I think this is what's happening. And come back to me, J-Dubs. I think this is what's happening. I think the city released its bill for cleaning up Sunday's protest. And they made sure to do whatever it took, no matter the expense, to get things back to speed. Because the city knew it had an edge from a PR standpoint if it could release a bill this high. The city knew that folks would then turn on the efforts of the protesters because they realize it's taxpayers that are left with the collateral damage, i.e. $19,000 bills. So I think you have an inflated number from the city to create a sense of guilt within the community. Secondly, the strategic air of graffitiing and damaging personal and private property and heckling paying citizens of private businesses, that undoubtedly created a chink in the armor. So you have this little chess match happening here. You got the city, whether it's inflated or whether it's, let's use the Mercedes-Benz of cleanup strategies, instead of using the Kia Sorrentos or the Hyundais of cleanup strategies. They went with the champagne taste. And they said, hey, media, make sure you know and you tell everybody that cost over $19,000 to prevent or to repair or to recover from Sunday's protests. And guess who's paying for that? You and me. And at a time when the budget is at a shortfall, and at a time when city schools are cutting their Spanish program from elementary schools, we're allocating $19,000 to the removal and cleanup of graffiti instead of allocating the $19,000 to a teaching assistant or to huff new life into the Spanish program across elementary schools in the city of Charlottesville. $19,000, I would bet you, is roughly 50% of a first-year teacher's salary in the city of Charlottesville. $19,600 plus, I would bet you, is roughly 50% of one teacher's salary for one school year in the city of Charlottesville. So here we have this chess match, guys. And the chess match is saying, we're going to give you peace. We're going to give you room. Police is saying this. City Hall is saying this. We're going to give you room to protest. We'll give you room to breathe. We'll give you room for your freedom of speech. It's your constitutional right. But we're going to clean up after you the next day. We're going to shut Market Street down for half the day on Monday. And when the cleanup is done, we're going to make sure the media knows and everyone in the community that this is the bill for what you did. And then we're going to let the community decide how to look at your efforts. It's very strategic. It's very strategic. I mean, good gosh, if I knew, Judah, we'll go to you on the screen. Remember when I said, Judah, let's go get some pictures of Market Street and these 5 guys cleaning up? If I told you that we have a chance to get 19 G's for the cleanup, what would you have done, my friend?
I had to put my phone away and started cleaning the street.
19 G's? 19 G's for half a day's work. You have to clean up some graffiti from the asphalt. It's going to cost $19K. You don't need to rent a power washer from United Rentals for $150, a power washer for $150 for 24 hours. I'm pretty sure a power washer could take off some graffiti from some asphalt. Okay? 19 G's. half a teacher's salary to clean up Sunday's protest. The first strategic error from protesters, and undoubtedly an inflated tax bill by the city that gives them leverage from an optic standpoint with the community. And where are we left? Well, we have a fiscal year 2021 budget in the city in Charlottesville and Albemarle County that is at a significant shortfall, $8 million plus in the city. That's going to get worse, especially with the news we're about to report. So let's add to the shortfall by having a $19,000 tax bill. Next headline. Wow, when I saw this one. Put it on screen, Judah. Put it on screen.
Which one?
UVA. Andre Xavier says, or black spray paint for $5. He's exactly right. We could go to Martin's Hardware. Andre, if we knew, Andre, at Monday morning at 9 a.m. that the city was going to chalk up $19K to clean up some graffiti, Andre, you and me would have gone to Martin's Hardware. We would have gotten some black spray paint, and we would have said, $10,000, save $9K, and use it for a teaching assistant or get the Spanish program back. Brenda Hill says this, $19,000 is ridiculous, especially in light that they can't power wash the police department building. It looks terrible, but we have a clean street. Hooray! Brenda Hill, I love that. Great comment. Give it a like, give it a share. If you want to offer some perspective, punch it in the comment section. I'll relay your comments live on air. We're live on 12 different Facebook pages. The next story is the University of Virginia. This also was almost the lead of the show. When preparing the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have a congressman and Dr. Webb that wins in a landslide, or I can talk about a $19,000 tax bill, or I can talk about UVA and graduation being moved from the fall to the spring. I mean, it was like so much opportunity. Oh, God, let's go UVA, Judah. This one hurts. This one hurts. Jim Ryan today announces that UVA graduation will, in fact, be held in the spring. This is final exercises for the class of 2020. So if you graduated in 2020, this past semester, if you graduated this past May, or you were a fourth year and you were done taking credits and you were ready to matriculate and move forward and start your life, and you wanted to walk the lawn and you get your diploma, and you wanted to have this phenomenal rite of passage, the graduation for a lot of people is the final icing on the cake of rite of passage from youth to adulthood. You go to college to find yourself and become an adult and to learn some knowledge. You leave college and go into the real world to be like, everything you just figured out in college is BS. And now you're in the real world and you have to learn what really matters. And street smarts is what really matters in the real world. And reading people. And seeing ahead of the game. And understanding body language. And having a negotiation skill set. And having an affinity for risk-taking. And being organized and structured and detail-oriented. So before you go into the real world, if you're a college student, your final rite of passage is graduation. Let's drink some bourbon. Let's have some beers. Let's put this cap and gown on. Let's party like it's 1999. Let's get Mom, Dad, Grandma Sue, Betty Boo, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Jimmy Vaughn Miller on grounds watching me go and get a piece of paper that really is going to come in the mail because the one I'm getting is fake. But it means a lot to people. And if you're the class of 2020, you're now experiencing this final rite of passage on May 2021, 1 year after you've earned graduation. And I'm going to ask you this. Are you ready? I'm going to ask you this. Are you ready? If you're in the workforce and you've graduated from the University of Virginia and you're now in the workforce and you're working on Wall Street, say you're at Blackstone or BlackRock or JP Morgan, say you're in Northern Virginia working on the Hill, say you stay in Charlottesville in Central Virginia, you're doing something in client services, you go somewhere. Are you really, in May of 2021, are you really going to drop everything that you're doing and come back and celebrate graduation 1 year later? Hell's to the no. You're not going to do that. Some people will, but I can assure you that the numbers will be small. The 2020 graduating class just had their final exercises marginalized for eternity. For eternity. Marginalized for eternity. You can do it in May of 2021, 1 year later. If I was a betting man, and I'm an entrepreneur, so undoubtedly I'm a betting man, I would put the over-under on participation for that May 2021 graduation. I would put it at 50%, the over-under. And I would bet the under all day, every day, until Johnny Walnut says, I'm not taking your action anymore, Jerry Miller. May 2021. Now let's think about this from an economic standpoint. Let's think about this from a business standpoint. Let's think about this from teachers teaching your second grader in Charlottesville City Schools. Let's think about this from an ambulance or a policeman or an EMT having the resources to resuscitate your grandmother who suffered a heart attack in Cascadia or in Ivy, 29 North, Batesville, or in Belmont. So you don't have graduation this fall, and it's been pushed back to May of 2021, and anyone with any common sense realizes the graduation 1 year later, after it actually is supposed to take place, is going to be a watered-down situation. How does that impact you and me and us? Well, we're the city of UVA. And when the city of UVA doesn't have graduation, your merchants on the corner and in Midtown and on the downtown mall, the folks that run the hotels that depend on marquee weekends like graduation will suffer from an occupancy standpoint. How about all the Tom, Dick, and Harrys in Charlottesville and Albemarle County who fancy themselves Airbnb entrepreneurs that have built an Airbnb model around renting their property and the $3,000 to $4,000 they get for graduation weekend? Well, guess what, guys? That money's gone. And if your $3,000 to $4,000 that you had pegged to rent for graduation through your Airbnb business model, if that $3,000 to $4,000 was 1, 2, or 3 months of mortgage, we're in a big-time trouble spot right now. Not having graduation this fall, when we're at a budget shortfall in the county and the city, that is very heavy, very real, and very big-time news. It'll be on every news outlet that you watch after this program. Every single one. The restaurant, I'm just going to put this in perspective. The restaurant business is on such slim margins that local restaurateurs rely on the success of weekends like graduation, like Alumni Weekend, like our 6 or 7 home football games, like our home basketball games, and a couple of other marquee weekends. There's like 13 marquee weekends for restaurants in Charlottesville. And those 13 marquee restaurants carry the business through the lean times like the dog days of summer, the cold days of winter. I'm not being hyperbolic. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. I'll relay them on air now. Andre Xavier, love Andre Xavier. He said, I would have done it for $5,000, Jerry. I think I would have too. Spray paint the asphalt for $5,000. Lisa Green, the fabulous planning commissioner watching the show. Stephanie Rhodes, love that lady. Barbara Lundgren, Lisa Watson, hello. Sarah Morris, hello. Brandon Harrop, hello. Christopher Eagle, what up, dog? Lynn Lively, que pasa, chica? Give it a like, give it a share on any of these Facebook pages. Comments are coming in. The show is freaking hot right now. It is hot. Tim Phelps, what up, dude? Tim Phelps just donated to the Bob Shada Save the Fireworks Committee and GoFundMe. We are saving fireworks in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. The I Love CVille Network is doing its small part. We have that story for you shortly. We're trying to raise money through a GoFundMe link. I'm going to get that story to you very shortly. We're about halfway there. We have a private citizen that's willing to use in Wendell Wood his land on a mountain next to Carter's Mountain as the launch pad for the fireworks. We have fireworks that are going to be of epic proportions, greater than they've ever been. So folks across Albemarle County, the city of Charlottesville, into Fluvanna and Goochland can see them. Because you know what? I'm proud to be a freaking American, and I need some galvanized group community effort right now more than ever. There's nothing I'd rather do on the 4th of July than have a cold beer in my hand, my wife next to me, my son, well, it's probably sleeping because it's 9 o'clock and the guy's 2. But he could be, I can be holding my phone with a picture of my son. So I got my wife next to me, a Minuteman in my hand, a photo of my son here, and I'm watching in the Charlottesville Blue Ridge sky as fireworks celebrate Americans' independence. Amen. Next headline, please. We predicted this. We called this Commonwealth Sky Bar, Commonwealth Sky Bar, Commonwealth Sky Bar. We caught the ire of the restaurant group for breaking this news as well. Last week on the I Love CVille Network, we explained that Commonwealth Sky Bar is no more. Commonwealth Sky Bar is undoubtedly one of the sexy brands and restaurants downtown that attract people to the mall. What are the sexy brands and restaurants that attract you to the downtown mall? I'm going to take 5 seconds so you can think about it. Here's the question I have for you. What are the sexy restaurants and the sexy restaurant brands that get you thinking downtown mall culinary scene is banging? For me, it's businesses like Commonwealth Sky Bar, the Fitzroy, Prime 109, Downtown Grill, Citizen Burger Bar, the Whiskey Jar, the Bebedero. Well, guys, Downtown Grill's closed. Red Pump Kitchen tried to open and then closed. Not permanently, but Red Pump Kitchen's closed temporarily for long term. Commonwealth Sky Bar, as we told you on the show before anybody else last week, is no longer going to open as Commonwealth Sky Bar. Instead, Hunter Smith, the visionary and businessman behind the Champion Brewing Company brand, the Champion Restaurant and Hospitality Group, he is going in, and along with a very talented right-hand person in J.R. Hadley, formerly of Boylan Heights fame, they're going to convert Commonwealth Sky Bar into an upstairs tiki bar and a Baja Mediterranean menu. It's going to open later this year, we hope. So Hunter and Champion, entrepreneurial, risk-taking, without question, he has access to capital. And access to capital is critically important in a recession and a COVID-19 landscape. In the last 7 months alone, we've seen Hunter and Champion open the Champion Grill in Stonefield. I've been there. It's cool. I love the beer. I like the French fries. I like the sports vibe. The Champion Grill has J.R. Hadley written all over it. And someone tell J.R. Hadley I said this. I think he did a hell of a job. I like the Champion Grill. It's fun. So that was what? End of last year, Q4 of 2019. And then they do the partnership with Craig Hartman in Gordonsville with the Champion Ice House, where in Gordonsville they've converted they are converting a historic building, and they're converting this historic building to build a beer-type ice house concept. I think it's still getting flushed out, where you can have Craig's fried chicken and Craig's amazing food, Hunter's amazing beer, and just have this fabulous ambiance for families to enjoy themselves. So that's in Gordonsville. Last week, they announced a strategic partnership with Laura Fonner, formerly the executive chef at Dooners. Laura was in line to be the owner of Dooners, but obviously COVID-19 has changed the succession plans of going from the current owner to Laura. Dooners is temporarily closed because of a COVID-19 case. They're going to open later this summer. Laura, who's a hard worker, says, look, I got to grind here. And she forms a strategic partnership with Hunter where she's going to take a food truck around Charlottesville and Albemarle County and sell her dumplings. She's known for her dumplings. So that's another partnership that Hunter has done. That's 3 that I've outlined. And the 4th one is now taking over Commonwealth Sky Bar and doing a Baja Mediterranean menu and an upstairs tiki bar. So there are few business people in Charlottesville that I have seen expanding their business in 2020. Patty Zeller is one. She's taking Animal Connection from the McIntyre Plaza later this year, and she's bringing Animal Connection to the Ix Art Park. And she's going to build this epicenter of everything dog. You got training, you got grooming, you got a self-serve dog wash, you got a place to drink beers and hang out with fellow dog owners, you got retail, you got knowledge. I mean, just a vertically integrated company. I love working alongside her, one of our favorite clients in Animal Connection. She's expanding. Hunter's expanding. There's no question, you guys have seen it firsthand. This company and our company has expanded. Hunter now has Champion Brewing Company downtown. Hunter now has Brazier Saison on the downtown mall, Commonwealth Sky Bar on the downtown mall, Champion Grill in Stonefield, the Dumpling Food Truck with Laura Fonner, and I believe a tap room or 2 outside of the Charlottesville market. But I know those 5. That is a tremendous amount of economies of scale. And when you have 5 units like this, and one of them's a food truck, and one of them's a brewery, but when you have 5 units like this, you can start vertically integrating your systems, shaving percentage points off your big food distributors and your big food purveyors because you're buying in larger bulk and you have more negotiation power. It's also a tremendous amount of risk. And I've spoken with many restaurant owners in this community because they're friends of mine. Had beers with them last week, 3 of them. And they all said, Jerry, we're scratching our heads here because we know he's a fabulously talented businessman and entrepreneur, but why not wait 3 to 4 months to see how the marketplace responds and whether or not rents become more depressed or lowered by 10 to 15%, creating more opportunity. So it's a very nebulous situation. And did you see what happened on the stock market today? I mean, last I looked before the show, my personal portfolio was down 3.5%. 3.5%. And the market in totality was hemorrhaging as COVID cases are spiking across the country, namely Florida and Texas, North Carolina, Georgia. So it's nuts. You got UVA moving graduation. You got the city hall slapping a $19,630 tax bill on you and me, taking money away from your kid's teacher, taking money away from your kids' Spanish program is not alive right now in the elementaries in Charlottesville, city schools. Strategic Air, first one I've seen from the protesters. And City Hall either has the worst subcontractors, either has the worst ability to manage a project and keep it under a threshold of spending, or more realistically, is leveraging this scenario to create a PR smear against the protesters by saying this cost the city $19K. There's so much news I have to get to. I got Barbara Lundgren coming up. I got to talk about fireworks. All right, I'm adjusting on the fly here. Look on the screen. So much knowledge that you need to hear, knowledge bombs that literally no one's talking about, that's taking either money out of your pocket or putting money in your pocket or impacting your child's life. Literally right here. We're hearing scuttlebutt. Let's talk restaurants real quick. You know what? I'll talk about restaurant closings after Barbara Lundgren. If you care about restaurants, new ones are closed. No one's announced it. We have that story for you. We're also going to scratch our heads and ask ourselves, why have some others not opened, or why have some others not made announcements of what they're going to do? The longer this goes on, the more concern you may have of them not reopening. But I want to get to Bob Shotta. So we had Bob Shotta on the show, so get that sizzle reel ready to go. Before we get the sizzle reel ready to go, how about the GoFundMe link on page? Okay, so I'm going to give you a nitty-gritty background here. About 10 days ago, we had Bob Shotta, a Charlottesville icon, on the I Love CVille show. And Bob Shotta and I were talking on Facebook. And Bob is like, dude, we may not have the fireworks this year. The city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County are not offering us the land or the money to have the 4th of July fireworks. We know their budgets are hurting for next year. They're also really uncertain with COVID. And I said, my kid's 2 years old. And I said, I love the 4th of July. And I said, I'm proud to be an American. And I said, don't we need a community event now more than ever to galvanize us, to improve spirits and outlook? And don't we need the 4th of July for all of us to take a brief moment, maybe 30 minutes during a fireworks show, to have an escape from an otherwise awful 2020? Has 2020 been good for you? Say it out loud. Literally say it out loud. Has 2020 been good for you? I'd like a 30-minute escape to help me celebrate the independence of America and to galvanize the community. So I said, Bob, let's come on the show and talk about it. We have to save the fireworks. In the process of talking with Bob on this program, the fabulous Kelly Jackson, who you're going to get to know really well on this network, she's going to host a program centered around women changing the world. She says, I live in the south side of Albemarle County. You can have my land to launch fireworks. Barbara Lundgren, who's about to be our guest in 2 minutes, she listens to the interview, not even the live show. She listens to it on demand on her time. And she said, I want to help save the fireworks. Barbara Lundgren reaches out to Tom Powell from the Toy Lift. Barbara Lundgren reaches out to Ray Cadell. Next thing you know, you have Barbara Lundgren, Tom Powell, Ray Cadell, Bob Shotta, working to help save the fireworks. Kelly Jackson says we have land. A couple of other private business landowners are perking up, saying we have land. And then finally, Wendell Wood, who has one of the best purchase properties in Central Virginia, on top of a mountain next to Carter's Mountain. Tom Powell makes connection with the Wood family, and bing, bam, boom, we have a location. And now we need to raise the money, because the city ain't giving it to us, and the county ain't giving it to us. And Judah, get the GoFundMe on there. How much is it? Is it $35K?
Let's see.
Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Put the link for the GoFundMe on screen. If you want fireworks, donate to this campaign. We're halfway there. We are halfway there.
15,490
$15,490 on what total?
of 35,000.
All right, we're about halfway there, guys. All right, let's hear from Bobby Shotta. Do you have the sizzle reel ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, play Bob Shotta from yesterday on the I Love CVille show. And before we do that, I'll count you into it. We're going to talk the restaurants that are closing, and we're going to talk Barbara Lundgren here very shortly. Barbara Lundgren, the fairy godmother, the star of the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase, which is Thursdays at 10:15 on the I Love CVille Network. She will join us in a couple of minutes. Bob Shotta, Judah, in 3. Bob Shotta, Judah, in 2 and 1.
When I was on your show a few weeks ago, I had just gotten word from the city that doing anything fireworks-wise at McIntyre Park was a no-go. I was expecting it, wasn't shocked, but still kind of bummed out about it. You know, we worked so hard last year when the sponsors bailed out, and I had to go on TV and say, hey, you know, we're not going to have fireworks show, and the community came together. It's always uplifting when you're in times like that. And are fireworks super, super important to the ongoing day in everyone's life? I guess not, but it is tradition. It is something that we always look at. Is our country perfect? No. Was it perfect in 1776? No. But we want to make it better. Times have got to get better if everyone keeps working together and making it better. And the fireworks is just kind of that pause in your life to say, let's celebrate, our birthday. Let's celebrate the good things in the States, and let's do better. And I didn't want to see that go to waste. And so when I came on your show and was like, I don't know if this is going to pull off. I want to make it, I want to go somewhere high so it's not COVID restriction where people can't gather and do this. And then I come on your show, and then Ray Cadell pops in, Barbara pops in. Tom Powell was the one who came together and found our spot. He knew the woods.
Wendell Wood.
God bless Wendell Wood and Hunter Wood for stepping up and saying, hey, we got the spot for you. We're not going to charge you for it.
Help us save the fireworks. Help us save the fireworks. How about a 30-minute escape on the 4th of July? For us to come together as one, as a community, and to celebrate the independence of the country. It seems reasonable. And you know what? This isn't everybody crowding in one. Let me debunk some things. This isn't everybody crowding in one spot, shoulder to shoulder. It's on a private land. You're not going to be going to the man's land. You're going to be enjoying the fireworks from your car or from a place that you see fit. Safely, healthy, cautiously, with social distancing in mind. We're not going to be shoulder to shoulder, so don't jump to conclusions and throw the hate over here. I don't want anything to do with it. Let's go to the comments before we go to Barbara Lundgren. Carol Thorpe left a comment. She says, Jerry, on Monday, we were all wondering, because of your show, what the cost of 5 city work employees with heavy machinery would be. Well, now we know. You and Judah may be in the wrong business. That's from Carol Thorpe. Gary Grant says this. Gary Grant is a loyal listener and watcher. Jerry, you have kidnapped my Mondays through Fridays from 12:30 to 1:30 because you're doing local news. I look forward to your show. Thank you very much. Brandon Harrop said this. We are going to donate after this broadcast is over. We love Tom Powell. This is from Grace, who's watching in Belmont. Jerry, I watch your show as much as possible. When I don't watch it live, I watch it at night with my husband. You do a really good job, and you're one of the few people that's bringing local news to us. We will also donate today to help save fireworks. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We did not know about it. Put the GoFundMe link on screen, Judah. I'm going to get Barbara Lundgren on the line here. Barb, we're coming to you, baby. Barbara Lundgren's the fairy godmother. I can't wait to talk with the fairy godmother. I can't wait to preview her show. J-Dubs, Barbara Lundgren's ringing for us here. For bringing this to our attention. I have the fairy godmother online. She has an oasis I see at her house where the lighting is phenomenal. It's glistening off her hair, and she looks effervescent and beautiful. Judah, do I have the green light to welcome the fairy godmother? I do. The fairy godmother, you are live. How are you, Barbara?
I'm good. How are you, Jerry?
I'm doing very well. How about this? Some money's coming in. We got some donors who said they're giving today on the broadcast. Fireworks.
Some more came in this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think about fireworks? Show is yours.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about tomorrow's show.
We will.
Okay.
We will. We will.
Yeah. We did this several years ago, same team. And that's why when I saw Bob, I called the other guys. And coming through again. I do want to clarify one thing. You mentioned that the city funded part of the fireworks. They do not.
Right. They're not giving any money.
But they never have.
They never have. Gotcha.
It's always been sponsored.
Gotcha.
So we want to clarify that to the community.
That's good.
They have provided the park and the
permits.
Group, permits, all of that. Everything's always been funded by sponsors, and we also pay for police support, fire trucks, all of that. So it's always been through fundraising and sponsorships. So we want to clarify that to the community. It's not your tax dollars.
You are a force, Barbara, and I have seen it like literally behind the scenes. She is a well-connected lady who knows a lot of people from her time here. What did you make of the UVA news?
Yeah, I got that from you. I had not heard that, so still processing that.
It's
not a surprise. It's not a big surprise, but yeah, we have some things to deal with again.
We do. What do you have? What do you have planned for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we are going to have Cindy Schaumburg of Keswick Vineyards on the show with us. She's going to talk about all the great things that they have done at the vineyards, at the tasting room, throughout these 3 months, and how we might transfer all of the great practices that they've had at the tasting room over to events as we move into phase 3. A little bit on that. All of that is in the works. And then we will have Frank Smith, who is with Primetime Event Group. He has been quite the innovator over these last few months, and he's one of our favorite DJs, and he actually had an event over the weekend, so he's giving us some perspective on how that went, and also some practices that he's putting in on the dance floor.
Ooh.
So he's got some great stuff for us.
Oh, okay. So Barbara Lundgren is the star of the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase. That show airs Thursdays at 10:15 on the I Love CVille Network. So tomorrow, Cindy is like one of the influencers in the space. Cindy and Al are big time. Can you put in perspective this power couple?
Oh, I've worked with Cindy and Al for a long, long time when all the venues were popping up all over the place. They were one of the first as the wedding industry was growing. They were key in getting the sound ordinance changed years ago, and I worked with them at that point. And I was actually one of their event managers, and I learned so much from them. They've done so much, and the wine. Go Stephen Bernard.
Oh, it's amazing.
Absolutely, it's the best. So
how's
very
the first show you did? Judah and I were talking. Absolutely exceeded our expectations. I don't want to speak for you. I think it may have exceeded your expectations as well. I think anytime when we try something new, when it's different, you don't know what to expect. So about 5 or 10 minutes before the show, we were calling people. We were trying to get people on the line. But once the lights came on, she really stepped up and was really a Hall of Famer. What was your experience like on show 1 now that you've had 6 days to digest it?
Well, I was a little nervous, but I had the great guests. I mean, they just took it. It was great to work with them, and I mean, Craig just rolled with it, and so did Jake. And I hope if you haven't seen the show, you'll go back and look at it. It was great. I mean, so much information and so much perspective on what our industry is going through right now. We have a lot to do. Everyone has a lot to do. But we're going to talk about that in the beginning of the show, what our industry is going through right now with phase 3 and the health department and things like that. So we'll be hitting on that a lot.
You literally have 3 people who have asked on the stream, can you ask your guest about phase 3? So people can we tease it now and then talk about it tomorrow too?
We'll tease it a little, okay. Yeah. We are hammering on the health department to help us out. They are not focusing on weddings and events. It's more generalized into restaurants and larger events, and everything's pretty vague for us. We're having to figure it out ourselves. And however, our industry does a good job of that. And I'm talking to the caterers, the venues, the DJs, everyone, the bands, Ray Cadell, we're all figuring it out slowly, and we'll do a good job. It's stressful, though. It's so stressful to make that perfect day for our couples and our families, and it's going to be so much more stressful. But we'll do it.
Did
We'll
you
do
feel
it. Yeah.
hope with the Phase 3 announcement? What'd you feel?
A little scary. It's a little scary. With the numbers going up, they announced the numbers were up, and then they announced Phase 3 opening. It didn't quite make sense. So it's a little scary. But we're going to deal with it, and everyone has to deal with it. We want people wearing masks. I hear all types of stories about they did an event over here of a medical group, and none of the doctors were wearing masks. That's stuff that you hear. So that's scary stuff. And another bride from August. A colleague was checking in with a bride from August. She has 12 in her bridal party, and she was asked, what safety measures are you looking into for your guest? She said she hadn't thought about it. So that's why our numbers are going up, because some people just aren't paying attention and not taking it seriously. So that's concerning.
You got I can't wait for tomorrow's show, the Phase 3 announcement and how it applies to weddings in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. If anyone is on the supply chain and weddings and events in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, you're going to want to watch tomorrow's program. So we'll analyze Phase 3. You are not going to believe this, fairy godmother, but you have people on the stream that remember last week's show that are asking for the sweet songbird siren sounds.
Oh gosh, we don't have time.
That is
for
Barbara
that.
Lundgren,
No.
the sweet songbird siren
There's
sounds.
time tomorrow. No time. No time.
I can't wait to see you tomorrow. It's going to be a good show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
All right, you have a good one, Barbara.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay.
Barbara
Bye.
Lundgren is great. 10:15 tomorrow morning on the I Love CVille Network. If you follow the impact of weddings and events in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, you're going to want to tune in to tomorrow's show. Stephanie Rhodes says it's a very scary and a huge jump. And she's right. She is right. The Phase 2 to Phase 3 jump is Phase 3 is virtually totally, is close to totally open. But we're going to analyze that. I didn't think about it, and that's why we're trying to build like insiders or experts on their particular field, and Barbara's exactly one. I didn't think about Phase 3. I thought about it, as she said, how it pertains to the bars and the restaurants, but I did not think about it how it applied to like an event or wedding venue. So that's good. That's going to be really good information. Let's talk restaurants. Before we talk restaurants, let's get to Chief Brackney. Do you have those photos ready to go? The photo of Chief Brackney? Judah? Let's put that on screen. So, you know what? I'm going to say this. And I said this yesterday. It's easy to pile on the police and throw shade and hate their way. It's easy to do that. It's the popular thing to do now. And there's no question there's a couple of bad apples in every department. And there's no question that we need reform. And we need to allocate financial resources a little differently when it comes to the police department. We're asking them to do too much. They cannot wear 8 different hats and be expected to do 8 things and 8 titles and 8 roles well. So I think we should have some financial reform with how we support police departments across the country. But I'm not going to paint a broad stroke brush across policemen everywhere. And what I'm saying is unpopular. It's not the cool thing to say. It's not the popular thing to say. It's not what people are talking about. But I feel compelled to say it because I know I have a platform and I know I'm a leader in the community. We don't paint broad stroke brushes across demographics of people. When you do that, that's the early stages of racism. Not all cops are bad. And we'll celebrate Chief Brackney by putting this on screen. Put the photos on screen. The police chief has caught a lot of heat, a lot of it deserved, especially with how she handled Rory Stolzenberg and the photos with the Planning Commission and Virginia State troopers getting in city public works trucks. But Chief Brackney's had 2 years on the job. You got the photos on there? Look at the screen. Yesterday, in front of the police department, Chief Brackney and some of her supporters took a photo and said, "We have your back." 2 years on the job. I want you to take 45 seconds and pause and reflect on this. You have a black woman coming to Charlottesville right after August 12th who took over for Chief Thomas, a black man who was run out of town because how he handled August 12th. The police chief and Chief Brackney, she's been 2 years on the job in Charlottesville post-August 12th at a time when we've had a lot of turmoil in our community, and she's 2 years in. I can think of few more high-stress jobs than being a police chief in the city of Charlottesville during a budget deficit, during COVID, on the heels of the murder of George Floyd, a couple years removed from August 12, 2017, a couple months before we take the statues out of the city and put them somewhere. That's going to happen this year. On top of that, she's a woman in a male-dominated field. And on top of that, she's a black woman in a male-dominated field. We take a step back, we reflect for a second, and we have to salute the police chief for doing 2 years on the job and to be able to manage the stress and to overcome all the obstacles I just outlined. You might not agree with everything she does, but you still respect the effort. Someone tell Chief Brackney I said that. Chief Brackney, you're welcome on this program anytime you want. Someone tell Chief Brackney, police department, I said that. It would not be gotcha journalism. It would not be, shock jock questions to solicit a response or to drive viewership. It would be two people talking about real issues. Anytime you want, Chief Brackney. Give the show a like and a share. Now, I want to go to restaurants. So, I'm a huge fan of restaurants, as you know. I understand that restaurants are a huge driver of the economy locally. More importantly, I love to eat and I love to drink. And I work my tail off. So when I'm not working my tail off, I'd like to be at a restaurant at happy hour with my wife or with my kid or with some friends and having a beer and some oysters at Public or a bocadillo at Mas Tapas or the Steakhouse Burger at Citizen Burger Bar or the Strip at Zocalo or Wilson Richie's Fried Chicken, or Wayside's Fried Chicken. So I get to thinking, I get to talking, I get to watching, I get to following these restaurants. And I'm scratching my head and I'm asking myself, why haven't we heard from a few of them? And I have no knowledge on the ones that I'm about to name. I have no knowledge on the ones I'm about to name and what's going to happen. I'm just a citizen that patronizes businesses in Charlottesville, that uses cautious optimism to go about his life every day. We have not heard anything from Fry's Spring Station. Fry's Spring Station has not been open for takeout during this time. It's a pizza place. It has not been open for takeout during this time. Its social media channels have been very quiet. Not a chirp from Fry Spring Station. I'm scratching my head and I'm wondering what's going on with Fry Spring Station. You have a model that is pizza and has a carry-out component to it, yet you haven't been open. Prime 109. I'm wondering what's going to happen with Prime 109. Is the concept of going to a luxurious steakhouse now extinct like a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Or is Prime 109 in a phenomenal position because a competitor in Downtown Grill is closed forever? Do you consider opening and expanding and trying to get more market share because Downtown Grill was probably doing 6, 7, 8, maybe $9 million of business a year, and you think you can maybe get that slice of the pie because you're the only steakhouse on the mall now? Or do you just shut down the mall, shut down your restaurant altogether because your overhead is probably the highest on the downtown mall? The highest overheads on the downtown mall are Rapture and Prime 109. Rapture's overhead is like $20K a month. No BS. And Rapture, you got to realize that you're priced on square footage. They have the club in the back of Rapture, and it's a multi-level club. So they're paying for that square footage despite not using it all the time. Prime 109 has a humongous footprint. I mean, I bet you their rent's got to be $20K, if not more a month. Hunter Craig is their landlord. The dude is a humongous property owner in Charlottesville. Hunter owns a third of the UVA corner. He owns the Bank of America building. They put, guys, they put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars into the renovation of the Bank of America building from a bank into a steakhouse. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the process of the remodel, asbestos was found in the building, requiring even more money to be put into the remodel. This literally just happened. I mean, is it a year old? Is it a year and change old? So I'm scratching my head. I'm wondering about fries. I'm scratching my head. I'm wondering about, let's go studio cam. I'm getting hot here. These lights are so hot. I'm scratching my head. I'm running about fries. I'm scratching my head. I'm wondering about Prime. I don't have any knowledge. I just know I haven't heard anything from them. And we're pretty deep into COVID here that you would think you would have heard something by now. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of, if you're driving by Route 29, you see the windows at Jason's Deli are completely paper bagged over. You got a Jason's Deli storefront on there for us, J-Dubs? Is that on screen? Look on the screen here. Jason's Deli, Route 29. They have a phenomenal salad bar. How the hell are you going to eat at a salad bar now? How are you going to eat at a salad bar now? How do you leave food out in a salad bar fashion now in a COVID-19 landscape? Jason's Deli, you drive by there, there's paper bags over the windows. I'm hearing rumors and scuttlebutt that they're not opening. I'm hearing rumors and scuttlebutt that Uncle Maddio's in Stonefield is not opening. How do you eat? Here's a question for you. If you're a tapas restaurant, not topless, get your mind out of the gutter, John and Louisa, not topless, tapas. If you have a restaurant and it's a small plate, everybody at the table gets to share it, tapas. Bang is tapas. Mas Tapas in Belmont is tapas. Oak Heart Social is small plates. How does the small plate everybody share and gets a piece of the bocadillo or the bacon wrapped dates or the tomatoes asados? How does that work in COVID-19? Why haven't we heard from Fry's or Prime? I'm just asking a question. I'm literally just asking a question. We'll dig into it on the I Love CVille show. We're an hour and 6 minutes into it, and I have 3 more pages of fresh content that you've not heard or seen or read anywhere else in Charlottesville or in Central Virginia. Judah, we're going to have to save the content till tomorrow, right? You know I got a photo shoot coming up in 20 minutes for a client, a meeting at 2:30, and then Patty Zeller's What's Barking Local at 3. If you guys want to hear about an expanding business and Patty Zeller at Animal Connection moving from McIntyre Plaza to the Ix Art Park later this summer, she's putting a lot on the line, and she's building an epic business. If you want to hear the nitty-gritty and the X's and O's of what she's doing, tune into the show at 3 o'clock because she is creating incremental tax revenue for all of us by expanding her business. So let's follow it really closely. Let's go to the comments. Bill McChenzie says there's no buffets anymore, Jerry. There's no buffets anymore. What happens to the Wood Grill buffet? Have you thought about that? How does the Wood Grill buffet stay open in COVID-19? How does the Golden Corral stay open in COVID-19? How does Sushi King Buffet stay open in COVID-19? Seriously. I mean, it's no freaking way. There's no, you can't, I mean, are all buffets over? Are we no longer going to be able to stay at a place like the Omni Hotel? I'm just spitballing here. And wake up and have that fabulous breakfast spread in the morning? Is the Boar's Head Brunch Buffet now a thing of the past? More comments coming in. We're live on 12 Facebook pages. This is from Lisa Stevenson. Jerry, I love your show. I like your different outfits and when you change your jackets on the program. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. How about Cavalier Diner? We haven't seen them open, she says. And Jerry, can you talk about the restaurants in 5th Street Station? When are they going to open? Keep up the good work, Jerry. Dudes, Aramark, they're the company that is known for managing cafeterias at universities across the country. Aramark also has its hand in the food and beverage business at sporting events at UVA. Aramark has this vertically integrated macro concept where in college cafeterias or at sporting events, much like an airport restaurant scene, you go in an airport and you see Caribou Coffee, you see Auntie Anne's, you see BurgerFi, you see Wing Zone. So Aramark has built these brands, and these brands cater to different people's tastes. One of them's a coffee brand, one of them's a wing brand, one of them's a burger brand, one of them's a dessert brand, and so on and so on. And they connect the back end to build economies of scale and some vertical integration. But from a retail or restaurant-facing standpoint, they're seen as different brands. Guys, I'm going to straight up say it. I have heard from 3 different commercial brokers and 2 business owners in 5th Street Station that the Aramark conglomerate of restaurants over there by the movie theater may not open again. That's like 4 or 5 restaurants. And we know that rents in downtown Charlottesville are coming up for renewal in the next 45 days. It's going to be the Wild West this summer. It is going to be the Wild West this summer. Tomorrow's program is going to be really good. I think this is one of the best shows we've done, and tomorrow's is going to be even better because I haven't even gotten to the news that's coming this afternoon and the news that happens tomorrow morning, and I still have like 7 different stories I need to relay to you that matter to not only your kids and your futures and your homes, but your pocketbook. This is the I Love CVille Show. Judah Wickhauer did a hell of a job. Monday through Friday, 12:30 to 1:30 on the I Love CVille Network. You guys, 3 o'clock, which is in an hour and 19 minutes. Good Lord, I have the photo shoot in 4 minutes, Judah. 4 minutes I have to sprint for this photo shoot. So in an hour and 19 minutes, Patty Zeller is going to outline the playbook and the X's and O's of her expanding her epicenter of the animal community that is Animal Connection to the Ix Art Park. It's freaking genius. Listen to the show at 3. Take care. Hey, I got that photo shoot. I got to go. And I also have the 2:30 conference call with the client and then the 3 o'clock meeting. Okay? I'll be right back.